If you're extremely stressed and you are lacking mental toughness and you are trying to gain mental toughness and decrease your stress, this episode is for you. I've learned in a bevy of ways of trying to figure out how to gain mental toughness while trying to decrease my stress. And for men, like, this happens so often because we can be stressed from relationships and career and finances. Those things, those stressors can hit us on a daily basis, but we have to keep going and we have to do so and try to improve and try to get better and try to handle these things better. So I've learned, I've had so many areas where I've just been kind of down, hit rock bottom, and I've learned how to pick myself back up. And there's some tactics that I've learned. So I'm going to talk about those 4 things here. So I hope that this definitely helps. Number 1, build resilience practices. Now, I call it exposure therapy. It's not an uncommon, term, but you want to add some level of exposure therapy to your life. Now, how I do this is through fitness. And I do this when times are really good, because when times are really good, what happens is, especially with guys, is like, we might just coast and be like, okay, we're good. So we chill on, some of the things that we're driven about. We kind of, spend a little bit more. We do the things that didn't get us to this point. And so what happens is it ends up getting us back into a low point. So when things are really good, add something that's challenging and add something that increases, almost increases the stress level so that you can gain mental toughness. For me, I do it through fitness. If you follow me, on Saturdays is like my Saturday hell days. I put a hell of a workout on my program. And I do throughout the week. I don't just post it throughout the week, but I really post it on Saturdays. And I do it so that by about 75% of the way through that workout, mentally, I'm ready to quit and I don't want to be there, but I have to figure out a way from a mental standpoint, from mental toughness and from a mental self-talk, how to get myself that other 25%, right? It's not just a physical thing. It's for when tough times hit down the road, in career, in life, in marriage, those things, because then when things hit and I want to quit, I'm able to develop those mental self-talks and those habits that I've already developed every single day when I want to quit from a physical standpoint, that those kick in, right? So exposure therapy, find something that's challenging for you to do and expose yourself to it consistently. So when real challenging things hit, you're not just sitting back with no tools. You just don't know what to do. Number 2, create stress protocols. What I say is, and what I mean by that is, when stress hits, you have to have something that you can do immediately to almost like decrease the stress a little bit. And it doesn't mean just run to a vice. Like, we all have done it, right? Everybody has their vices, whether it's, watching videos you probably shouldn't, whether it's spending money you probably shouldn't, whether it's, it just doesn't mean it's a bevy of different things for different people, right? But figure out when that stress hits, the things that you do that decrease it, that allows you to get away from your vices. For me, it's just getting up from my desk. It's going on a walk, taking the pups for a walk. It's taking a deep breath. It's typically getting outside and really becoming very present, because I know that if I can become present and I can breathe a little bit, I can get some perspective. I'm like, oh, whatever is stressing me, it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it's really getting some space from the thing. But you have to find something that when the stress hits, you do immediately, and that it isn't a vice, that it helps you instead of hurts you. Because when the stress hits, because stress will hit consistently over time in life, we are not immune to hardships or anything. You want to have something healthy that you can do that helps get you through over time. Number 3, get help, talk to somebody. Now, I think this is so important, especially for men, because we want to grit our teeth and grind our way through it. And I think that can be great in some times because you can learn a lot from it. But in other times, you need to get help. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to people who've done it. You need to get some professional help. Talk to people who will give you a greater perspective than where you're at. I love having conversations with my dad, because I'll talk about something and I'm 34 and I think he's 60, 61, right? And so he has almost 30 years of perspective that I don't have. So when I talk to him about a thing that might be really big to me, he can talk about it as, oh, at your age, that was really big to me. And now it's like he's got 30, almost 30 years on me. It's like, well, now that's not a big deal to him. So he can give me a greater perspective and life perspective of it. And I think that when it comes to stressors, when it comes to hardships, sometimes we just lack perspective of a thing. We might think the thing that we're going through is the biggest, the worst thing ever. But if you have somebody that's able to give you the tools, 2, give you perspective, it's just going to help you see something differently. And it might help you from feeding in so much to the stress. And you might be able to look at it and say, ooh, I know this feels like a negative now, but I know at some point in time it's going to flip and be a positive. So let me just endure it. Let me just figure out how to get through it and get through it the right way. So when I get on the other side of it, I learn from it and I'm able to help the next person that comes along. Number 4, manage your expectations. Now, this is important because I'm someone who I always want things to happen fast, go. And I want things to run perfectly and smoothly. That's not how life is. So sometimes our stress just comes from, we just expected so much and we just wanted so much and we didn't get what we wanted, right? So when you are able to manage your expectations of whatever's, in place in your life, when it comes to your marriage, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to just people around you, sometimes those things will disappoint you. And that's okay, because that's life. Because I guarantee you, I've disappointed a lot of people. I've disappointed a lot of people that I've loved. You've disappointed people, right? And there's people who have and who will disappoint you that you love, and people who have and who will disappoint you that you really, really care about, right? So when you manage expectations and know that, hey, these things are a part of life, like loss is a part of life, lost jobs, lost people, lost, just things are a part of life, right? Lost finances, these things are a part of life. And so when that hits, and when you manage your expectations and know that, hey, you might be on a high now, but a low can hit, then when that low happens, when you're at the top, you want to make sure that you are doing the things that allow you to at least buffer yourself a little bit, so when you hit rock bottom, it doesn't hit so hard, right? Because again, we're all not immune to hardships, right? So when you are stressed and you want to be mentally tough, just understand hardships are going to happen. Like, these things are going to happen. And so when things are good, that's the time when you want to practice. That's the time when you want to do the right things. I always say, like, at the beginning of the week, I feel the freshest. In the beginning of the week, I'm working like twice as hard on my workouts, because I'm like, oh, this is the time where I can really, really gain, because this isn't the time where I slack off. Like, I feel good right now. Let me go and let me push. And so when those times when I'm really, really tired, I can still perform well, but it's because I put in so much extra work on the times when I feel good, right? So how to go from stress to mentally strong, and how to get that, gain that mental toughness. Number one, build resilience practices. Expose yourself to hardships. I like to do it through fitness. I highly suggest that. I think that it's so beneficial from physically, from mentally, from health standpoint. Do that. That'll help. Number two, create stress protocols. Find some things that you can do immediately when a stressor hits that isn't just going towards a vice, but that is a positive benefit towards stress, towards decreasing the stress. Number three, get help. Talk to somebody. Guys, it's okay to be vulnerable. I know it can be hard sometimes, but it is well okay, and it will push you in the right direction even faster. And number four, manage your expectations. Life isn't going to be perfect. Not everything's going to be perfect, but if you manage your expectations, when hard things hit, they won't feel as hard. They won't hit as hard, and you'll be able to buffer yourself against it a little bit. So I hope that this message helped. If it did, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next episode video. Peace.